Where is Obi-Wan Kenobi? Not here, Sith. His name has baited your trap. The first one who tells me where to find him lives. The rest of you die. No, it is you who shall die. Surprise, Sith. No, I prepared very carefully for this meeting. This is a Catorsis blade. Your lightsaber will now be useless for the next few minutes. More than enough time to kill you. Uh, Since I require a weapon, I shall take yours. And that was from The Purge, one of 3 one-shots that came out many years ago. I think this one came out in 2005. I think. Let me check that. Indeed, 2005. I think somewhere between the time that the DVD was about to come out and after the movie came out, Revenge of the Sith. And this is John Ostrander, no Jan Duursma, but just John Ostrander. John Ostrander, who did Star Wars Legacy and Dawn of the Jedi. But before he did any of those 2 projects, I think this is his first Star Wars project because he worked on other stuff. This was his first Star Wars comic. And I've been going back and looking up. George's birthday just passed yesterday. And I wanted to do this because, I reviewed Star Wars Legacy and Star Wars Legacy 2 and The Star Wars and Dawn of the Jedi. I covered like half of it. But I never covered this stuff. Now, there are 3 issues as far as I know. And this one was dealing with the scenario that Darth Vader is already at his mechanical ways. And then you have like all these different, he kind of looks like Yoda, but I kept picturing him talking like because in the Clone Wars, everybody, hello, they talk like this. They talk maybe Iranian or Czechoslovakian or Turkish. They have this accent, right? But like, I didn't know what this Jedi would sound like. I would just think he sounds like he screams.
I was in transit with the starfighter. I heard the beacon summoning in by the temple and then telling us to stay away. I ditched the starfighter here and played dead.
like talk like they sound, right? But maybe he would sound more like this. I don't know, because George Lucas had a way that every alien species would sound ethnic or third world, but obviously when this thing yelled, they go right, because that was in the pod racers, and then you had I didn't like this part where he looks too much like Anakin. Maybe if they used the concept for the Anakin with the bald head, there was an Anakin with a bald head and a ponytail at the top, and George looked at that and said, "No, that's too much. That's not Anakin Skywalker." They could have used that for the other Jedi, but they were trying to be symbolic here. But Wheatley's art was very, very good, and he's like, somewhat less than well done. Dead, he can't tell you nothing, if indeed he has anything worth saying. So this is Age of Empires. And here you got these Jedi. So what it is, it's a one-shot. And all it really is 8 Jedi going up against Vader in his mechanical suit. Okay, not Anakin Vader, but the traditional 77 Vader. And you get all these Jedi, and they're very Dark Horse-like. But you could see them in the Acolyte if you really think about it. They look like they could be in the Acolyte, with their lightsabers out, because you're going to have some aliens too. You got this, I don't know what species he is, and they used Obi-Wan Kenobi to trap Vader because they heard rumors that Obi-Wan is somebody he's looking for some reason. This is Knights of the Old Republic. I don't really care for this one, except for the crossover with Celeste Morn. And I've been watching the Dark Horse reenactments with Billy D. Williams doing the Dark Empire 1 and 2. I'm looking at Dark Empire 3, and then I will look at Heir to the Empire, or Heir, sorry. I think Finnish people, they say Hair or Herb. But
We no longer have a choice, Master Swan. Whatever our fate, let us meet it as Jedi.
because that's to me what he sounded like, like Brack from Space Ghost, just that. No, not Brack. Zonar, whatever his name is. Zoran. That grasshopper thing, praying mantis. So Obviously, in this issue, Vader kills all 8 of them. Um, what does he say here? Because one of them kills the other. It's like, you killed her, Cafe Arena, and now I will avenge your death, just like all the other Jedi have who have died. You started with 8. You're no match for the power of the dark side of the Force. Last chance, otherwise you all die. I can remember these lines. It's so iconic, this issue. And the issue was so popular that was it Kenner Hasbro made 2 figures. I think one of them is Vader, and the other one is Cafe Arana. And I think that was like, or maybe it was Cafe Arana and Baltar Swan, but I would have to think Vader was the other figure since he's the one on the cover. And they would have won if not for those blasted clone troopers. And all this is taking place during the first year or two. There are no stormtroopers to be seen yet. No Han Solo, no Chewie, no Leia, no Luke. Everybody's still hiding. Basically, they spread a lie about 50 Jedi being killed, but it's to spread fear into the galaxy, into the outer rim and inner rim. So there's much work to do there on Coruscant, and I like this. It definitely feels like the prequels, but then it has that original trilogy feel because of the Emperor and Vader and the Stormtrooper atmosphere. So this one I give a 9 out of 10. It's not perfect, but I like it a lot. And this one came out 4 years later, also done by John Ostrander, and I think the writer or penciler is Jim Hall. And this one feels like Ahsoka Tano in a way. But Ahsoka Tano was barely in like media. So 2009, what's the landscape? The Clone Wars cartoon season 1 has just started, and there's still, no Disney yet, no Disney interference. So George Lucas still owns his stuff. He's still doing the Clone Wars with Dave Filoni. And this one does remind me of Ahsoka a bit, especially because the non-canon character here is the niece of Plo Koon. I forgot her name, but I think it's... Do I have her name there? No. It's a survivor. So what she's trying to do is try to get to challenge Vader. Now, this is contradictory to the Marvel comics, which shows Jocasta Nu hiding out for a couple of years. So she lives a couple of more years to try to get Vader. She tried to kill herself, and then Vader killed her and then destroyed the holocron. That's the way it was. But either way, both Jedi, both Jocasta Nus were willing to defend the records from Vader and all that. I mean, they're all trying to protect the sanctuaries of things. So let me see what her name is. My home, my uncle Plo Koon. I forgot what her name is. It's not something I'm supposed to remember her name, but yeah, she goes through training. She gets a Padawan of her own, and then he dies on the planet Giju. A lot of things here. Let's see. Sha, that's her name. Sha Kun. So Plo Koon and Sha Kun. So what is happening here is there's a fight between Vader. If she can defeat Vader, she can take her place by Palpatine. But if not, she has seconds to die. I'll let you figure out how that ends. Oh, look, there's the Yuuzhan Vong against Kyle Katarn. So this is important. She survives the Clone Wars, the end of the Clone Wars. That's what a female of the Plo Koon species looks like, I guess. I would think so. I don't think it's going to be much different from what Dark Horse did. And yeah, this is sad. But she survives the Order. She hides in the worst parts of the underlevels. Not 1313, but somewhere. And she's been hiding for a while. Time passes in the underlevels. So she finally finds a way to reach the Emperor. And she says, what have you learned? That the dark side is stronger than the light. The destruction of the Jedi, I can see who holds the power. And it's like, and what is it you want? He plays it cool, right? And she's like, well, to serve and to learn to become your apprentice. And there's only two. There were no Sith assassins, so one to have the power, the other to crave it. So he he could easily send the stormtroopers or the clone troopers to go get her, but why not just send Vader? You know, because now there's this hidden animosity between Vader and Sidious. I think it might be well known that Sidious does not like Vader for becoming half a man. You know, in a lot of ways, he would say that his anger got the better of him, and he let Obi-Wan cut him in half. So here he is as this half man. So that might have brewed some animosity between Palpatine and Vader because he's not the powerful Jedi that he once was when he was slaying all those children in the temple. And this kind of reminds me of H.G. Wells' what is it, the Morlocks, the furry creatures in the underlevels of the Perfect Society in the Time Machine. You know, I remember my history books. So, you know, here she is challenging him. The moment that it was, she's talking about the time. I must shake off the doubts about the past, the future, the now. This is a more personal story. We're looking at her thought bubbles, her boxes. This is not now, and this is not now. And this is not now, and this is now. So she gets skewered, and that's the end of that. But she thinks all is lost. I die knowing I have failed. No, this is in the moment, my death in this now. The Force shows me what will be. The son fights the father for the daughter, for his sister. They're reborn, renewed. No Grogu. And electricity happens here, and Vader is killed. I mean, Palpatine is killed, and so is Vader. And then you see the growing Jedi. You can see Mara Jade. I wish Mara Jade was canon. The future does not depend on me. So this is how it really ends, right? With a this is how liberty returns with a thunderous applause. And then there's this hidden place here. And they say, okay, well, it doesn't matter. The Jedi was weak. She and all the other Jedi no longer matter. Yeah. So he's put it all behind him now, I guess, because he knows he has full control over the Jedi. The Jedi are now scattered. And I think it was the only concern was the secret code that Obi-Wan sent that the clones will take a long time to take to uncover the code and bring the Jedi back. And finally, we have the Purge, the third and final Purge. And this one came out in 2010. The Clone Wars was coming up on season 3 after season 2. So we got better toys, we got more things. And I would say that the Dark Horse comics got better because of the 6 movies, some of the cartoons, and actually Dave Filoni adapted a lot of stuff from the Dark Horse to put in the Clone Wars. One was changing the race of aliens. It was when Togrutas, Ahsoka Tano and what are the Shakti's people, they are imprisoned by slave drivers. But in the comic books for Clone Wars, it was not that. It was a different kind of species, so we're gonna look at right now at this is for the Hidden Blade. Now I like the beautiful painting in here. This is fantastic stuff. So if we can show that better, we will show that better. So these are still clone troopers, and these are the kind of like a purple. They look like if you had bruises all over your, somewhere between someone with like silver blue skin. That's their natural skin. They have like silver in their bodies and stuff like that. Argeria, but they have this weird species here, and well, all this really is. I mean, the first one was about fighting 8 Jedi. The second one was about fighting 1 Jedi who knew everything about. She knew that Anakin and Vader were one and the same, and she knew that she wasn't going to survive for very long, but she had to do something. And this one is about constructing the AT-ATs, or AT-ATs, as we used to call them, but the AT-ATs. You were sent to hasten the construction of the walkers, not pursue the natives. Both seem a poor use of my training. You forget yourself, Lord Vader. Your obsession with the Jedi has clouded your judgment. I do sense a powerful presence here, Master. You will remain at Tremor Base until the walkers are complete. If you defy my orders again, you may never leave. So at this point now, he's kind of just now. There's a different writer. The writer here, hold on. The writer is Hayden Blackman. I think he's done other stuff. So it's a different writer because John Ostrander did two already, and somebody else did this one. But the paintings are great. So the Emperor Palpatine is at his end, and then you can see a damaged clone trooper right there. Oh look, more Clone Wars stuff. Oh look, Star Wars Legacy. So yeah, he's damaged. They have a Jedi. So he knows when this clone trooper who committed Order 66 along with the rest, they tell there's a Jedi here. And they're going to go figure it out. So this is, in all three issues, Vader is made a fool out of. His anger is tested. The 8th Jedi tested his anger. So did Sha Kun, Plo Koon's niece. And now it's these other Jedi that don't really have a super significance. And this reminds me of when Luke and Leia are finding the Kyber crystal in the forest in one of the paint. I'm not sure if it was a Ralph McQuarrie painting, but it had I think it was a novel that came out in the 80s. And this is using trickery. I like these. These are available at Toys R Us. We don't have Toys R Us. This is a Padawan. So the Padawan leads him to the Master. And the Master, before he does get to... this is what the Rebels are doing right now. This planet is being used to build these AT-ATs. And all Vader has to do is remain at the base and keep the natives away from destroying the walkers. These are like, self-made rebels here. This is not the official Rebel Alliance, though that could change. And they have this sonic disruptor, this big noise thing. And here comes a big, giant crate dragon of some type. Lightsabers will not work. Blasters will not work. So they have to do something else. It's kind of like the Zillo Beasts, before the Zillo Beasts. And he can use the Force, but he can't kill him. So here is this great, powerful Jedi. And it's going to go the way you think it's going to go. But it's fun to see this fight. And he meant to take off his whole hand. But of course, Vader always has the upper hand. And what does he say? My name, Hylon, means trickster. You came here with no hope of no escape. Why? Go back to where you belong and all will be clear. So that's it. So what happens is you see a second disruptor, and the same giant beast goes after the walkers. So here's Palpatine, and he's very Sidious, or he's very disappointed. You meditate on your failure here, and that's it. So he's going to leave him to figure out how to get back home. And maybe you could argue in a theory, Star Wars theory, that if he's already argued it, I'm sure he's already had, that this is the beginning of Vader's building his own castle, because he was always going back to Coruscant, but then he would go to his castle. I enjoyed all three of these. This one I gave a 9. I'll give this one an 8, and this one an 8. So 9 for the first book, 8 for the second one, 8 for the third one. It's hard to find these. I don't know if there's collected. Chances are I don't think they're collected. So you would have to hunt these down. They were all one-shots. But put together really makes a story, a pathetic Vader who had to really figure himself out. And I would read these again. I mean, this is probably my favorite one because this was the iconic one. And you could make a play out of it, a play for free, but a fan play where everything takes place on this giant like factory, these ironworks, where Vader kills everybody. There's a lot of wire work jumping around and shit. But if you like this video, if it's good enough for you, you see those buttons below, you know what to do. May the Force be with us all. As one YouTuber said, we might need it. There's always Star Trek.